Hello to everyone. Hello to everyone. My name is Sandeep. I am working as assistant professor in the Department of Information Technology of MLR Institute of Technology. So previously we discussed about that functions. How can we define a function? What is the function? How can we call the function? So these all the things. And today we are going to discuss what are the what are the types of parameters in the functions. Right? So let me discuss about this one. Right? Generally, we have the two types of arguments, or we can say type parameters. What is that one means? Formal arguments or formal arguments and actual arguments. Okay, formal arguments and actual arguments. For example, what is the formal argument? What is the formal argument? So when a function is defined, it may have some parameters. For example, whenever a function is defined, then it have some parameters, that is a comma b. Now these parameters are nothing but formal arguments. Formal arguments, that means these arguments are going to receive the values from outside of that function. Yes or no? See here, a comma b, but where that values are going to receiving means from outside of the function, right? From outside of the function. So while defining the function, whatever the parameters are included, that parameters is called formal arguments. That arguments is called formal arguments. Next, what is the actual arguments? When we are calling the function, we are going to pass some values to that function. That values are called actual arguments. So here that a and b are called formal arguments. Here x and y is called actual arguments. Okay, so this is what a and b are called formal arguments, x and y is called actual arguments. So this is the two types of arguments, that is formal arguments and actual arguments. But here next we have different types of actual arguments. Again we have different types of actual arguments, that is 4 types of actual arguments. One is positional arguments, next keyword arguments, next default arguments, and next variable length arguments. What? One is positional arguments, keyword arguments, default arguments, variable length arguments. Now see, first we will discuss about positional arguments. So these are the arguments to a function, and that arguments has to be passed in a correct positional order. That means whatever the number of arguments are present at the function defining, that number of values has to be passed at function calling. At function calling, that means here see, the number of arguments and their positions in the function definition or defining should match exactly with the number and position of the argument function call. For example, def m1 function, okay, a comma b. So now m1 function, for example, just I pass only arc. What will be happen here? At function defining I have 2 parameters, but at function calling only I have only one. I am passing only one value. So at that time we will get what? Positional argument is missing. That error will come. But for example, yes, this is here the number of arguments is 2, but number of values is only 1. So it is not matching. And one more example, def m1 a comma b m1 arc and new. So what happened? Actually, what is that one? New arc. But what happened here? Arc is assigned to A and new is assigned to B. So that's why what? Arc and then new. And then new. Okay, na? So it means what? Here the number of arguments are mismatching, and here the position of the arguments is also mismatching. So compulsory number of arguments and position of the arguments has to be matched. So that is called positional arguments, right? And positional arguments is also known as required arguments. What we can say? Required arguments. So let me see an example. Now see. For example, def m1 a comma b. Okay. Print a comma b. Now m1. So only I will pass arg. So how many parameters are there? Arguments are there at the function defining? Only one parameter. But at the function calling, how many values we are passing? Only one value. So we'll get an error. Let's see. That error will come. What happened? See, m1 missing one required positional argument. So number of parameters at function defining should be matched with the number of parameters at function calling. Right? Now see. New. Now we don't get any error, but the position is mismatch. So the position is also compulsory here. Right? Now see. Now I will give that exactly. Okay, no? So new arg. So like that one. So positional arguments is nothing but what? At function defining, how many number of arguments we pass. At function calling, that number of values should be matched. Otherwise we will get what? An error. That is positional argument is required. Next we have that keyword arguments. So keyword arguments are arguments that identify the parameters by their names. By their names. See here, for example, now see, def m1 a comma b. Now at function calling, compulsory we have to assign the values with their parameter names. That here a is considered as a key and value is considered as a b. Sorry, value is considered as a 10 and here 20. Okay, na? So what will be happen? See, it can provide arguments with the key value. This way the interpreter recognizes the arguments by the parameter name. So at that time what will be happen whenever you are going to pass the values by using their names. See, here what is the parameters we pass at the function defining? A comma b. But here we are going to pass at the function calling, at the time of function calling, we are going to pass the values with their parameter names or with their arguments name, that is a and b. Then the interpreter easily recognize which value has to be assigned to which parameter. And also here the order is also not important, because of here we are giving the values with the parameter names. So let me see an example. Okay, na? Now see, m1, okay, na? A equals to 10, b equals to 20. Right? Now see, a 20, b 20. Even the order is also, the order is not important, because of, so b equals to 10, a equals to 20. Here order is not important, because of we are assigning that values to by using that parameter names. See, 20, 10. Because of a equals to 20 and b equals to 10. So here the order is not important. So anyway, that is what? Keyword arguments. So keyword arguments means what? At function calling, we are going to pass the values by using their parameter names. By using their parameter names. That is called keyword arguments. Right? So this is about what? Positional arguments and keyword arguments. So positional arguments means here the order in which arguments are passed is matters. That means in which order you pass that arguments, that is actual arguments or values at function calling, at the time of function calling, as well as the number of parameters is also should be matched to the what function, that is formal parameters and actual parameters. Next, keyword arguments here is what? Here the order is does not matter. Why? Because of here each argument value we are going to pass using the parameter name. So that is about what? Differences between the positional arguments and keyword arguments. Right? So thank you. In next class we'll discuss about what? Next discussion, remaining arguments. Thank you.